are you?
I'm good. Is that your office or is that your home?
This is my home.
I like it. I like your shirt, by the way.
Oh yeah, thanks. It's a new business we're starting.
Captain Saves. Is that your business?
hmm Yeah, it was an affiliate to my other business that I have. Um, but yeah,
All right, so we'll talk about that a little bit later. How long have you been in real estate now, though?
I've been in real estate for about 8 years now.
Oh, nice. So what inspired you to get into real estate?
So a friend inspired me actually because I was in school at the time and I couldn't work like a 9 to 5, a typical 9 to 5. So I was trying to figure out jobs that I could get where um I could go to school too.
Oh, because it was hard to juggle. So you were doing both at once.
I was going to school and doing real estate at the same time, yeah.
What was your major in college?
I'm a psychology major,
Oh,
and then an entrepreneur minor.
oh, really? I didn't even know that was a minor.
Yeah, you can minor in entrepreneurship. You can minor in sales now. It's crazy.
Oh, that's amazing. So that's not the same as minoring in business, is it?
Not necessarily, but it is under businesses.
Interesting. I didn't know that. All right. So Brittany, tell us about your very first year, because the first year is usually the hardest, right? Tell us about your first year.
Well, for me, it wasn't the hardest just because I got into apartments. So my first few years in real estate, I just focused on apartment leasing. And that actually went really well because of all the networks that I had. Everybody that I knew were leasing, they were all leasing apartments. So it was actually really easy to get into. And I did that for a long time because here in Houston, the commission's pretty high on apartments. So it was really consistent and easy to kind of scale doing apartments. It got a lot harder once I transitioned into residential.
Interesting. So you're referring to renting.
Yeah, leasing a just rental, just rent lease rentals. So just apartment rentals actually, not even residential homes.
Oh, okay. So t tell us about when you got into residential. What was that transition like when you got into residential? What was that
That
transition?
was a lot harder. Once I transitioned to residential, it was really difficult because you have to figure out how to get those leads. That's when being with a good brokerage is really important because you really need that guidance. It's really, really good to have a mentor to help mentor you and
Yeah.
to kind of transition, making that transition. There's just so much that's involved and so much learning that you have to do.
Right. Yeah, because now the hard part is getting the leads and then closing. So how did you get your leads for the leases? Was it just your sphere?
Yeah, just my spirit, because everybody I knew were releasing apartments. So it was really easy, once your lease is up to just kind of transition to a new apartment and people that were downsizing. There's a lot of people looking for apartments. So that was really, really easy. And I was just doing walkthrough videos on my phone and then just posting them onto social media. And it attracted a lot of attention. Once you transition to homes, it's kind of a smaller market, right? So you have to find somebody who's actually looking to purchase a home or to sell a home, and finding listings is even it's another whole nother level. But it's a lot of money involved. Realtors have to spend a lot of money to make
Yeah.
money. So marketing, it's all costly. And so when you're in school and you don't really have any money, it's really, really difficult to get into.
Yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. Rentals are, obviously a lot less money than listings, but when you get a bunch of them, that's really nice because you said you had a constant flow, so that's really nice. So yeah, it must have been a hard transition because, but there's a much smaller percentage of people that can afford to buy than that can afford to rent, right? The down payment is tough, so a lot of people can afford it. So it's really
Yeah, and
hard.
especially with my sphere, we're all around the same age. We're all going to college, and so we're none of us really had a lot of money. So everybody was kind of leasing at that time.
So did real estate kind of make you go, you know what, I'm okay on being a psychologist?
Yeah, well, school costs a lot of money too,
Yeah.
and I think as the years kind of started going by, I was making more and more money in real estate, and so it just didn't really make sense to keep putting money into marketing. I mean, into school.
Yeah, and on top of that, a realtor can make more than a psychologist. If you make enough closings, they can make more. But I love psychology myself too. So if I went to school for something, it would be for psychology. I love psychology. So
Yeah, and it's just a lot of money because then you have to go into med school.
yeah.
It just depends on which route you want to take, but you have to go, at least get your master's or go full on to med school in order to like really be a psychiatrist. So I was thinking about doing maybe like counseling eventually.
Okay, so Brittany, walk us through a normal day in your shoes. What time do you wake up? Coffee or tea? What kind of coffee or tea? Walk us through a normal day.
Yeah, so I do. I do have coffee every morning. I switch up coffees. I like the kind of like Bustelo coffee, kind of it's like a strong
Yeah,
espresso coffee.
that's what we need.
So I don't notice it at all.
Mm.
And I just kind of make like an egg sandwich every day. I'm pretty simple. And then first thing is just working on my follow-ups. I usually try to spend about 4 hours every morning just working on follow-ups. Um,
4 hours just following up with class clients.
yeah, just following up. It's a big part of the business is just following up. And then, I try to spend my time on at least five things that are going to, kind of produce income to produce leads, generate leads.
So where do you get your leads from?
Different sources. So I have used Mozilla for a little while. I'm not too
Expensive.
fond of Zillow, but it does have some incoming leads that come from it. Social media. I've been working on my branding a lot. Let's say word of mouth, referrals. That's a big one. You really want to be consistent with your referrals, which is also a lot about follow-ups. And let's see, just different sources, direct mailers. I just try to do a lot, different ads.
Do you do EDDM?
Do I do what?
EDDM when you like pay the post office to deliver your stuff?
No, I use a service. I just do use different service providers that kind of do that. Not directly with UPS, but I have different mailer companies that mail out different flyers and stuff.
And what about cold calling? Do you cold call?
I do and I don't. I'll be honest, I don't. I've never been a big, like really fond of cold
Yeah,
calling,
it's annoying.
but I have done it. I've done it a lot. It's good. It works. It's just not my thing. But I do have a team, and then they do the cold calling for me. And I'm also developing a bot that does cold calling as
Oh,
well.
really?
Hmm.
You're developing it, like you're making it?
Yeah, we're making it. We're working with it right now. His name is Alex. And
Wow.
he's getting better. He's getting really, really good. We're training him to be able to close deals. So hopefully we'll be able to market him and offer him to like other agents too,
That must be
or other businesses that do cold calling.
that must be really expensive producing him and making Alex.
It can be, yeah. I think it was like the initial cost were a few grand just to get him started, and then of course, trying to teach him and educate him and upload all this material so that he learns.
But there's no way that Alex will ever compare to a human being, right?
We'll see. I mean, it's a lot, but he's learning how to. I mean, we're even teaching him different personality styles so that
Wow.
he can learn how to communicate better with different people.
Wow.
So he's getting good. I mean, he's quick to close. So we're hoping that he gets to a point where you may not even know that he's a bot.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I might be a while, but that's pretty. You're the first person I ever heard say that. That's very interesting. Are you the
Yeah,
t
he's good. As far as like right now, he's pretty good. I don't think a lot of people notice it too much. He's pretty good. He sounds like a human. Um, it's just I think if you it's just maybe certain questions if you ask him, you might be able to tell. But right now, he's doing a really good job.
That's amazing. Yeah, I have spoken to bots that sounded very, very similar to humans, but I could still kind of tell they were bots. So, but yeah, that's very impressive. I should probably look into that. So, Brittany, are you a team leader?
I am not. No, I work in a team. I'm a part of the Wolf Pack at EXP, but I am not a team leader per se. I work solo.
So tell us about your team. How does your team work? Tell us about that.
Oh, I love my team. My team's great. There's so many high-end professionals on my team. So like I highly recommend anybody who's needs to scale their business to come join me because there's just the top dogs. You got the barista twins, you've got Mike Sherrard on the team, Lewis Scott on the team. Like these are just top producing agents that are on my team. And it's great. We do training calls Monday through Thursday. I learn something new every single time. And then EXP has a lot to offer.
Right. So obviously you give a split to your team leader. So what does the team provide you? What do you get
No,
from?
there's no splits. So we
Oh,
don't
there's
have
no
any
split.
splits. The brokerage has a split. I think it's an 80-20 split,
Uh,
and we cap at 16,000, but the team doesn't take any commission.
but you have a team leader, right?
We have somebody who started the team. So with EXP, we're all shareholders. So there's no actual like lead person. There's not like a designated broker for the team or anything like that. So it works a little bit differently. So we don't have a team leader. We all kind of cooperate together, but we do have members that kind of guide the like training and are kind of sort of like are kind of like a team leader, but they're not necessarily that involved like that. They just but they we do meetings every week, every day.
Interesting. Are the meetings on Zoom or face to face?
Yeah, they're all Zoom meetings,
And
and but everybody's involved. There's a lot of questions and answers. There's not necessarily a person who leads the team.
and how many people did you say on the team?
I think there's thousands of people on our team.
Oh, thousands of people.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
see.
it's a cloud-based brokerage, so there's a lot of people. I think Mike Sherrard kind of leads the team a bit because he's the one that started it. So, we kind of use his branding and he offers a lot of social media techniques and branding because he's really big on YouTube and he kind of sets up the meetings and stuff like that. So he's a little bit of our team leader, but he's not. It's not on a one-to-one basis or anything or a small group kind of thing. It's on a bigger scale.
And so you said you're starting your own company. Is Captain Saves the name of the company?
Captain Saves a Home is one of the companies. I have three. I have Lock and Key Realty, I have this one, and I have the flat fee agent.
You have three companies. What? Wow. And
This one's actually my fiance's company, but it's an affiliate to the flat fee agent. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
So tell us about your companies. Obviously, it's a real estate company, right? So tell us about it. What made you start it? What is it like?
Yeah, so this one is a mission to go help people. So we want to help people who are undergoing like foreclosures,
Hmm.
and anybody who's just having a hard time making their payments, who need to sell their home. This one also offers flat services as well. So if you want to list your home and you don't want to pay like the full price for a full-on agent, both flat fee agent and Captain Saves a Home both offer those flat fees. So it's just really, it's very transparent as far as the fees go. You're not worried about the 3% or then that always kind of goes higher depending on the price of the home.
Right.
So this way you just know exactly what you're paying. And the flat fee agent also works for buyer's agents too. So if the seller does a contribution to the buyer agent, then you don't pay anything at all. But at least you know that if you do have to pay for the agent, it's not going to succeed the flat fee amount.
Interesting. Interesting. So what about your other companies? Tell us about those.
Lock and Key Realty, we build new construction homes.
Oh, you build construction homes. And are you
Mhm.
the founder of that company or?
I am. I'm the owner of that company. Yeah. I'm the owner of Flat Fee Agent and I'm owner of Lock and Key Realty.
Interesting. And how many employees?
No employees. There are no employees. Well, the Flat Fee Agent and Captain Saves a Home, we have sort of like employees. They're all online, like assistants. And the Lock and Key does not. We have hired contractors that we hire to build these homes, but that's about it. And like an architect and engineers, but not necessarily employees. They're all self-employed.
Interesting. So it must be hard to juggle all of these companies plus your real estate business. It must be super hard to juggle all of that, no?
It's a lot. It's a lot. That's why it was hard kind of time managing this
Yeah.
meeting. So it's a lot going on, especially since they're all startups pretty much. Well, Lock and Key Realty, I've had that one. That one's kind of established now, but Captain Saves a Home and the Flat Fee Agent are both startups.
So tell us about the flat fee agent. So it's you, you're the founder of that too as well, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah, that's a flat fee service. So we do flat rate listing services. We have different packages, different tiers. We also cater to investors too who want to scale. It's just a nice, simple flat fee per listing where you're not going to exceed. So if you're selling a home for $1 million and typically an agent would cost 30,000, this way you never exceed 5,000. Let's say if you wanted to do the full price package.
oh, so $5,000 is the flat fee full package.
For a full service package, yeah. And then we have investor tiers where you get discounts as if you're scaling, if you're buying multiple homes or selling multiple homes. We do have bundle packages as well where you have a discounted rate.
So even if their home is 3 million, they'll still only pay 5,000 flat for the full package.
Right. And then we have some a la carte services as well. If you wanted to do some open house coordination, inspection coordinations, you can add those on too.
So that sounds like a steal to someone selling $1 million home, a $2 million home. That sounds like a steal for them.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
We try to cater to those who really don't need a full-on agent. I mean, of course, I'm still going to do that. I'm still going to be a full-on catered agent for people at this, of course, the commissions now are very, very negotiable, but, we always kind of try to work for that 3%. But this way, it's just a nice, transparent way to just kind of just get what you need, basically.
Interesting. And do you have multiple Instagrams for each page or?
Yes, I do.
Smart, smart. Yeah, I have multiple Instagram. I have a sneaker page, I have a music page, I have multiple Instagrams as well. So that's
Yeah,
smart.
Captain Saves the Home is hilarious. We have comic strips, and I think we're doing little commercials and stuff. That one's it's way more entertaining than the Flat Fee Agent, but I do have one for the Flat Fee Agent as well.
I just realized you made that character, that captain. You made you did you draw him?
My fiance did. He created him.
Interesting. He looks a little like Homelander, a little like
Yeah,
Superman.
yeah, he's a little combination of Superman and yeah, he's cool. He's cool. We've got a villain. We have the foreclosure bot as our villain, and we have full comic strips. I think you can maybe see it on the back of my shirt. It's a
Very
little
creative.
comics.
Oh wow, very creative.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And there's a
Wow.
great story behind it. He has a great story. So if you go to the website, I think the story's on there.
Right, I'll put all the links below. But yeah, that's very creative. It's cool how you have your own like icon and your own story, your own narrative. That's really cool. So, Britt, what is your favorite thing about being a realtor?
It all starts with helping people. It's really great. That's the goal, right? Is to help people find their home and to just being able to, it's such an honor to be able to assist these people into doing that. And everybody's got their own needs and their own situations. And there's just been some that have just been more special than maybe some others, but everybody's in a certain need. And so it's nice to provide that need.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to get that, that look on their face when you help them close and when you're finally at the closing table, you're changing lives. When you're a realtor, you're changing lives. You're helping one with probably the most important decision they ever make in their life. So that's very fruitful and
Yeah, especially like first time home buyers. It's great being able to help them to purchase their first dream home. And then you have people that are looking into foreclosing. And so it's nice to be able to help them and to get them out of a position that could be detrimental to their life. There's just so many different situations, but it's all beautiful. It's all a wonderful experience to help everyone.
yeah, and when you have 30 different companies, you're helping so many different people in so many different ways. So like that sounds like it sounds like you're helping a lot of people. Britt, what is your least favorite thing about being a realtor?
Probably when people ghost you, I think that's the thing that I hate the most. It's just like you never want to burn bridges with people who were trying to help you, right? Never wanted to um, just cut off those networks. You never know when these people could be of assistance for you, even if it's not now. Like, let's say, like maybe you changed your mind, you don't need to buy a home, but how that person could have helped you in the future. I've had some people that are like, oh, well, I didn't know that you could help, but my house ended up getting foreclosed on, so I wasn't able to find another home. And it's like, well, if you had just let me know, if you had just communicated with me, then I probably could have helped you out of that situation. So it's just, I think it hurts my heart when people do that and they just don't really notice the benefit of having, somebody who's only there just to try to help you and you just completely cut off those relationships. So I think that's kind of the thing that I don't like the most is when I want to help somebody who's just not willing to accept that help.
Yeah, my least favorite thing is just flakers in general. But I did notice that you are a very transparent person, and it's sad, this. I mean, this is a whole psychological discussion, but it's sad that there are grown adults who just can't communicate and who just can't say, like, listen, I can't, I had to change my mind for whatever reason, as opposed to just blocking you. Like we're all grown adults. We should be completely past that point where we're just blocking each other as opposed to being transparent and honest and open. So, that's a
Right.
whole.
Very simple, just to be like, hey, I ended up going with my cousin who's a realtor, or I changed my mind, or this price point is too high. It's just there's so many ways that we can help that I think people just don't realize. And I've seen a lot of people who later on, I've spoken to who had first initially ghosted me. And they were like, oh, we had this whole thing happen. And then, we ended up losing the home, or we ended up having to like short sale it. I don't know. It's just whatever happens. And then they were just kind of like, well, we just didn't think that you could help. And it's like, well, I could have definitely been of assistance or connected you with people who could have helped.
Yeah, and a lot of to the time, people genuinely are not able to see your worth and able to see how you can help them, because obviously as a woman with three different companies, you're not a normal realtor, like you're someone who can help way more than the next realtor, than most other realtors. So a lot of the times people are just genuinely not able to see your worth and what you can provide. And that's a whole psychological discussion, but it's true. Um, Britt, tell us about one unforgettable experience you've had in your career.
Unforgettable. I don't forget a lot of things that happened in my career. I feel like it's all very, very eventful. But I think like just like maybe recently, let's see, something that really stands out, I think, is just sort of like maybe a situation where somebody was going into foreclosure and it was literally down to the wire. Like I think it was like the last final week or 2 weeks before the foreclosure. And we were able to kind of finesse where I was able to actually purchase that home to get them out of the foreclosure. And then they were able to kind of like get back into we were able to kind of work a business as a partnership to like renovate the home and then put it back on the market. So that person was able to actually make money off the sale of the home and not have to go through that foreclosure. And it was a very emotional experience because I know he was really terrified, and actually that person is the one who sparked up the Captain Saves a Home. So
Really?
it was really, really great, and a lot of good things came from it.
So you bought the home for yourself. It was under your name.
I bought the home for him, but it was under my business name. And then we became partners so that he could come back on and so that he could actually go through the actual sale of his home to be able to profit from it instead of losing it altogether.
Right. So you bought it for more than he paid.
I bought him for the loan. So I bought him out the loan. So basically, I basically took over the loan, bought the house, and then we tied in the renovations into the loan, the new loan, and then he partnered up, and then we were able to sell the house. And then
And
I was reimbursed for, of course, the portion that I put in.
you put the money into renovations. You're the one who paid for the renovations.
Yeah.
Interesting, very interesting. So it's a win-win. Everyone win in that situation. I'm sure he was super grateful for that because for the whole foreclosure process is, I've never been through it, but I know it's a terrible process. Britt, approximately how much per month do you spend into your businesses?
Ooh, thousands of dollars. I think on average it's maybe like a couple, like $2,000. Although I think this month with the new companies, I've probably spent like like 7,000 maybe. But you do spend a lot of money to make money, so I do spend a lot of money each month into my businesses.
Yeah,
And
I
it
mean,
just depends, lock and key, since we have to purchase land, it's hard to really say there's this, an amount per month because it just really depends because lock and key, since we build homes, a lot of money goes into buying the land and putting down payments on loans. And then for just being a realtor, just marketing myself, I think I spend about a couple grand a month.
probably more than a couple of grand if you include like buying the homes. It's way more than that. But obviously, I did notice that the top producing agents, or not just the top producing agents, but the most successful businessmen and businesswomen in general, tend to spend the most into their business. You have to spend money to make money, especially in real estate. You cannot succeed for the people that are thinking about getting into real estate. You cannot succeed unless you're willing to spend thousands of dollars per year or per month into your business. So I'm sure that you get it all back, and I'm sure you've had some losses and some investments that you might have regretted. No.
Yeah, my first one was a money pit. I bought it as a foreclosure, and there was all these things wrong with it. My partner was actually a contractor, which I thought he was going to do the inspections and handle all of that. I was really new into real estate and I was only doing the apartments at the time. So I didn't know as much as I know now. And it was a lot. I ended up having to move into, I actually bought 4 units all at once. It was a foreclosure of a few townhomes where they're single family, but townhome style. And there were four of them. I ended up having to move into one because it happened during COVID and I couldn't afford where I was living plus those four homes. So I had to move into one and then they didn't have gas lines. I had to install gas lines. Um, whoever was building them, they just stopped. I guess they ran out of money and they stopped. So I had to finish it up. And there was just a whole lot of extra expenses that I didn't know about. So there's a lot of loss there.
Yeah, I mean, every time you buy a home that's not in the best condition, there's going to be a lot of things, and like I noticed, when I renovated my own place, it's like renovations. At least one thing is going to go wrong when you renovate. At least one thing is going to go wrong. I noticed that, like it's hard to think about everything, especially for people who are new. So I remember that you said that you use Zillow. I heard that Zillow was extremely effective. I know they're really, really expensive. Did you get your money back when you used Zillow, or was it a loss for you?
I do. No, it hasn't been a loss. You do have to pick certain zip codes
Yeah.
and it does seem like a lot. I was kind of like, man, each month, you're spending like, and there were times when you have to kind of budget it. You have to figure out your budget because there were times when I was spending like 2 grand a month on Zillow. And the return, I didn't feel like it didn't work out. The ROI wasn't working out. I felt like I was spending more than it was bringing in.
Yeah.
But when I kind of found like a sweet spot, I think I spent about 600 a month on Zillow, and that since the balance is a lot better. So I've been tending to make like a higher ROI on that. But it just depends. The winter months sometimes it doesn't produce as much. It's just kind of hit or miss. I'm trying to kind of transition out of Zillow with these with the new businesses should bring in a lot of leads. So I don't think I'll probably need Zillow for too much longer, but it works. It works. It can be beneficial. I need to put into it, then it works. So not everybody's qualified though. You do get a lot of leads that just don't go anywhere.
Right. Well, I that's funny because I heard when I was on the phone with them, they were like kind of like boasting about how they vet their buyers, and they were saying that they vet much better than Realtor.com. And I've never used Zillow. I have used Realtor.com, but I heard that Zillow was, they told me they were very, very into vetting. And the cheapest zip code I found around here was probably like 1,500 a month. I didn't find any that was 600 a month.
Yeah, you can if you get in there. I think I pay because I have multiple zip codes, and I think the total is about 600. So I probably put about 200 into one, maybe. I know people that do thousands of dollars into a zip code, and that could be good. Yeah, I was trying to get into like kind of like a higher end, so I was paying a lot more for the higher end ones, but there just wasn't as many leads coming in on those. So you really just kind of have to like play around with it a lot and figure out which zip codes are bringing in a lot of leads. So if you go for somewhere like I kind of run Acres Homes, right? That one has a lot of new developing projects over there. So a lot more leads are starting to come in from there, but it was cheap when I got it. Well, less expensive when I got it. So the cost wasn't that high, but now I'm getting in a lot of leads. So that one was really beneficial, especially since the price point now is a lot higher in that area.
Right. I think it's safe to say that you have to experiment when you're a realtor, especially your first year. And whatever works, you can always carry on to the next year. Whatever doesn't work, you can always cut out. So Zillow is good for that experimenting, I'm sure. Britt,
Right. And one more thing is like you can go into like a lower, like a zip code with a lower price range. But I did that and it was just too hard. You get a lot of those clients that like can't really aren't a level buyers yet. They're just kind of like, maybe they need some credit and stuff. They're good to like follow up, but a lot of them weren't really ready. And so that one, it was like you weren't really spending a lot of money on those leads, but they just weren't producing anything. So it's a lot of finessing when it comes to Zillow.
so how would you respond to people who say that realtors are overpaid?
No, I don't agree with that at all. One, we don't. I wish we worked a 9 to 5. I would give anything to go back to a 9 to 5. I think because we just work all the time. If we're not sleeping, we're working, and there's so much money involved in trying to get leads. But anyway, it's like our job is to work our commissions into the deal. So if you're a seller, then we try to, get your home for top dollar on top of our commission so that you're not really losing anything. And then if you're a buyer agent, we try to work our commission into the deal so you don't have to come out of pocket. So, this is just like what we've learned how to do over time. We try to save you money and then we get ours in return. But the average realtor only sells maybe 3 to 4 homes a year, and that's only about 50, 60,000 a year. So, it's not like we're all making hundreds of thousands of dollars. Not all of us, at least.
Yeah, I did notice when I speak to some buyers that some of them have that perception that all of us make like 100, 200, 300K a year. Some of them actually have that perception, and yeah, that's probably like 5% of realtors, who boast
Yeah,
about
those
it.
are the ones just like any business. They scaled their business. They got there. You don't just pop out a realtor showing luxury homes. You have to work your way up there, and it's hard. I do luxury homes now, but I didn't start off with luxury homes. So you just have to learn how to scale your business. It's a lot of training. It's a lot of learning. It's a lot that goes into it.
It's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of risk taking. It's a lot of dealing with flakers and buyers who say they're serious, but they're not. I actually just had a client yesterday, Sunday. I picked him up from his house. I picked him up to into my car because he didn't have a car. And on the way to the co-op he wanted to see, or to the three co-ops he wanted to see, he says, "Listen, I can't sign this. It was the buyer agreement that was for 2%." He's like, "Oh, I can't sign this. It's 2%. That's $5,000, this and that." I'm like, I had to drop him off back home because I couldn't I couldn't show him the place if he didn't sign the papers. So yeah, it's a lot of dealing with those type of people. Um,
Sometimes
so
you break even. I feel like sometimes I'll spend a lot of money and then I just make as much as I've spent. So it gets scary too. Sometimes in the winter months, and then, you're not really making much at all. You have to really learn how to continue to get leads all year round.
it's funny because speaking of winter months, I watched a video of yours speaking about how the winter months can be the best because the realtors stay home and then the you can always go out and it's kind of like less competition. I speak about that for a little. I thought that was a very interesting concept.
Yeah, winter is actually the best time to buy because sellers are more willing to negotiate, right? Because the sellers who are selling in the winter, they're a little more desperate than the ones that can wait till spring or summer when there's a lot of buyers on the market. So you can work out a lot of great deals in the winter time.
Yeah, I thought that was a really, really, really interesting video. I'll post that link below too. So,
Thank you.
Britt, is listing on MLS enough, or what do you do after? Obviously, when you list a home, you put it on MLS. What do you do after that?
Uh, so like just like on my flat fee agent, we do offer just MLS a basic package. Is it enough? No, it's not enough unless you just have a home that just is just highly desirable and it's just going to fly off the market on its own. It's usually not enough. And I actually wrote a book, which is I have a couple of different books. I have a buyer's guide and a seller's guide. But after for me, once I put on the MLS, where it goes to is it's a lot of marketing involved. So we have to put it on all MLS platforms and then like Zillow and Realtor.com and Redfin. And then, it all goes down to marketing, just whether it's direct mailers, social media, Google ads, we do our best to get your home off the market.
Right, because yeah, I was speaking to a realtor the other day about this, and she said that the realtors who put it on MLS and do nothing else are like the bottom of the barrel realtors. She said, and there's so many other ways to market a home, and this is why people need to hire a realtor. Which brings me to my next question. Why should people even hire a realtor? Like some people say, I don't need a realtor to buy, I don't need a realtor to sell. Why, how do you respond to those people?
Oh gosh, it's like I'm sure there's something I can really say about that, but I just don't think it's a very smart thing to say. It's just we're trained to you work out the legality of the contracts, just the contracts and negotiation. I mean, there's a lot of value in that. You can put yourself in a really shitty situation if you don't use a realtor because we're working on your behalf to make sure that these contracts are written for you, so that you don't get stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in, and that you get the best value for that home, with market analysis and being able to either price your home right or to be able to purchase that home at a value that's justified. So it's just there's a lot of money that there's thousands and thousands of dollars that you save when you work with an agent.
Right. Even though obviously you might have to pay us, we spend a lot of money in marketing, on on photographers, and also when you're buying, the money that we get might just come from the seller. So there's that too.
You don't work for an agent. I mean, I've seen people who didn't work for an agent and they got stuck in a contract paying over market value for this home. And then they couldn't get out of it, found out they had a lot of repairs that were needed, all of this after they had already purchased the home. Like it's good. If you, especially if you've never done it before, you have to do the inspections. There's all these things that are involved when you purchase a home that you need to be aware of. We help you do all the due diligence of finding this home or selling your home. It's just you want to make sure that you're getting the best value and that it's structured in a way that works best for you. Because, like, let's say you don't get lending, you can't get approved for your lending, and then you're stuck in a contract with this home, and then you can't get out of it. This is our job to help guide you through these contracts.
Brittney, really quick, how much time approximately do you have left? I know you're busy. Do you have a lot of time left?
I'm okay right now.
Okay, cool. So just let me know when you're because I know you're running around a lot. So Brittney, do you view other realtors as competition?
No, I don't. And that's what I've loved about this brokerage too, is that we don't look at each other as competition, especially since, we work with 8 other agents from different states and stuff and all around the world. So it's great working with different agents. You can get referrals from different agents from different states. Now, here in Houston or here in Texas, not necessarily. There's so many people moving here. There's a lot of people that are out there, and there's a lot of bad agents out there. So I don't really see it as competition. It's just like, you just working your magic and it'll happen.
What is a bad agent?
Just someone who doesn't cater to their clientele. They just put it on the MLS and they walk away. They don't do anything. That the communication is bad. They don't answer their phone. They're not there. They don't answer questions. They're not knowledgeable about the market or contracts or anything. They're just, they just, I don't know, just hang up their license.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, it's funny because like when you're new and when you're a bad agent, it's kind of like, a little bit tolerable, but when you're a senior, 10, 20 years in a bad agent, it's like get your life together, you know? And also like to add on to that, I think a lot of realtors are just really, really nasty, you know? I've dealt with a lot of nasty realtors, and to me, that's a bad agent, like someone who's just really nasty to their clients or even other realtors. That's I've
Yes,
dealt with.
all about the money. They'll try to sell you something that needs a lot of work, or they won't even tell you about it, right? Because they're just looking for the money, and I don't believe in that. I won't sell something that I wouldn't buy myself, or at least educate my clients on what they're getting into.
Yeah, I mean, I think one reason why they're nasty also is because they view us as competition. So I think that's one reason why some realtors are nasty to other realtors. So
Yeah, can be.
obviously you have an LLC. Do you have one LLC for each company?
No, I have Lock and Key Realty, but I think like with future projects, like my new construction, I think my lender just advised me that I need to do an LLC per project. So I probably will be having multiple LLCs, but
Yeah.
right now I have the one.
Well, some people say you're supposed to have one for every business. So obviously some
Well,
realtors.
there's an LLC for this one, but this is because it's not all this isn't my company. This is an affiliate for my company, but the Flappy agent's under Lock and Key, and then the new construction's been under Lock and Key, but I think that's about to change.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of tax advantages and all that. So, obviously a lot of realtors don't have an LLC. Do you suggest that every realtor gets an LLC?
No, I don't feel like you need an LLC to be a realtor. I know there's, yeah, right, some different tax benefits or something. I know, like, I was advised to do like an S corp for some tax reasons, but I don't think I would have an LLC if I was just being a realtor.
Interesting. You don't think it's worth the tax write-offs and the protection,
Yeah, for the
liability
pros. If you do
protection?
your due diligence, then yeah, there are different definitely benefits to it, but I wouldn't say like you need one. With my LLC, I haven't used it as a realtor because there's already a lot of benefits to being self-employed. You can kind of write off your taxes. You just have to know how to finagle your taxes.
Maybe I'll cut that part out. Anyway, next question. Uh, how do you filter your clients?
Filter the ABC clients. My A clients are ready to go. And my C clients, they just need to be worked on a bit. And so I'll just kind of follow up with them. But I have my A ready to go already. Already got their pre-approvals. They're ready within the next. They're looking to buy within 1 to 3 months, and they're ready to go. And then my other ones, maybe like my B clients are looking for like maybe in a year. They haven't gotten financing yet. And then my C clients are like, they're just browsing.
And what do you do with those browsers? What do you do with them?
I just put them into my follow-up system, send them some videos, some tips, and keep them up with the newsletters, let them know about the market, any changes, and just keep following up till they're ready.
Yeah, I did find it interesting. You said you spend 4 hours a day on follow-ups.
Just lead generation, following up, making sure email automations are going through and birthdays and just communicating with my clients and building that relationship.
Yeah, that's probably something that I and a lot of other realtors need to do more, because I do follow up, but there are levels to following up, like there's some people who send handwritten letters, like like there's so many different ways you can follow up. And I feel like a lot of realtors, especially new realtors, underestimate the power of following up in handwritten letters and even just texts, stuff like that. So that's probably something that a lot of realtors need to step their game up, including myself. Um,
Yeah, a lot of new agents. I mean, I think the key to going from a new agent to a highly experienced agent is being able to work, being a realtor as an actual business, like a real business, and being able to budget and work your finances and organize your time the way you would like a actual business, I guess even a storefront.
Yeah, time management plays a very, very large role in real estate because there's so many different things you could be doing. You could be cold calling, you could be doing an interview, you could be door knocking, you could be, I don't know, making social media videos. So time management is very, very important, and dedication and persistency. So Britt, what separates you from other realtors?
Well, I feel like I am really I'm very, very good at negotiating. I have a nice high level of communication skills. I value my clients. I communicate, I respond very, very quickly. I'm very educated in not just like the market, but other things. Like since I build new construction homes, I'm very skilled at understanding the concepts that go into building new construction to be able to see, different things that are needed as far as like inspections. I'm just really knowledgeable about everything that has to do with real estate just because of my experience and the time that I've spent on them. Let's say, just even like mortgage, I know a lot about lending. I know a lot about, putting your home into trust afterwards. There's just a lot of information and knowledge that I feel like I've gained over the years that brings a lot of value.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I learned about real estate is it's, you never stop learning. And like so someone with 8 years on the job will probably know a lot more than someone with 1 or 2 years on the job, and even further, like there are people who've been in the job for 20 years, 30 years, and they know a lot. And there's so much to know. The studying for the test only teaches you a small percentage, and then you have to learn so much after that. And obviously, I think the fact that you run multiple companies also makes you stand out as a realtor as well. But do you prefer to work with buyers or sellers?
Well, I guess the money's in the sellers, but I love working with buyers. I've always been more of a buyer's agent. Um, but I know like, sellers, I love sellers too. It's a lot more work when you work with sellers. And, you can get blamed for a lot when you work with sellers. So it's a lot of, educating your sellers on pricing their homes, and it's a lot more tedious, I think, when you work with sellers than when you work with buyers.
That's really interesting because most people say the opposite. Most people say that working with buyers, it's a lot of running around and that it's way more work. So that's a really interesting
It
perspective.
can be. I think that's where the experience comes in. Like the way I talk to my buyers, I let them know, like we need to, we're not going to be running around. I'm not in the business of showing homes. I'm in the business of selling them. So I try to let them know that we're not going to be running around looking at 20 homes. We got to narrow it down to finding them exactly what they're looking for, and not waste too much time. But with my sellers, I know like there's a lot more, they're more empathetic.
Marketing.
their homes. There's a lot of empathy involved, there's a lot more emotions involved sometimes. There are
Mm.
some sellers that, they especially like my investors, my builders, they're pretty easy. They just want to put it on the market. But there's a lot of sellers that have had their homes for their whole lives, that have raised their children, and it's a lot more emotions involved.
But actually, but buyers have more flakers than sellers, probably, right?
Yeah, and sellers are great too. I love working with my sellers too. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot more, there's more expenses with it. You have to get the photography and do the marketing. And so, you definitely don't want to, you don't want to get fired after spending all the money right on the listing. But, so it's just a little bit more, I think, with the sellers, but it's great. I love working with both. But
Yeah.
buyers, it's fun. I like to go look at homes too. That's kind of why I got in the business. I love looking at different places and being able to analyze especially as a developer and as an investor. I like looking at homes that need renovations, and I like homes that are luxury homes.
So you have fun looking at the homes as well, so it's kind of a
Mhm.
win-win. Was there anyone that you ever had to like pick up and drive around? Has that ever happened?
Oh my gosh, I haven't driven anybody around since I first started. I don't think people are as comfortable as they used to be when in getting in someone else's car. But there was one time, I had some clients that came in from out of state, and I drove them around, and it was fun. But we ended up looking at like 20 homes, which I will do because they were coming from out of state, so we definitely had to make the time worth it for them. But it was fun. It was fun. It was a long day.
And I'm sure they had fun just being driven around all day. I'm an Uber driver, so I'm used to getting paid to drive people around. But yesterday was actually, I believe it was the first client that I had to drive around, and it wasn't a great experience. But anyway, how will the NAR lawsuit affect realtors and buyers?
I don't know. I think in the beginning, yeah, it's gonna affect people. I think it's gonna kind of like fade out a little bit because actually, in the beginning, I know some realtors that have been in the game for a lot longer than I have, and I guess in the beginning it actually was like that. You did have to get a contract kind of signed before, and then people just kind of started not doing it, not worrying about it too much, and then they're just kind of doing it at the end of the transaction. But so I think it's going to be kind of like that. In the beginning, it's going to be where it's really mandatory to do the contracts, and then it'll probably start to get a little easier. Once people start to understand it a bit more. But I think it's just starting that conversation. I think is the hardest part.
Right. So it sounds like you have a pretty optimistic view. Like, yeah, you don't think that it's gonna like, because I know a lot of realtors have been quitting, since the lawsuit started. So it sounds like you have a pretty optimistic view. Like, you don't think that it's
It's
gonna.
gonna take some time. Once people start getting used to it, I think it's good. I think it's good for both parties. To be more transparent in commissions, and it's just the way you have to present it. You just have to learn to present it towards where how it brings them value and how you're still going to do your best to get the seller to contribute, or kind of work it towards so they don't have to come out of pocket so much. I don't like the NAR settlement. I think buyers already have to come out of pocket a lot, but it's going to be okay. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, and this reminds me of, it was just yesterday. I was trying to tell him like, it was only 2%, and he was like, it's 5,000. I was trying to tell him, that you only have to pay if I can't get the money from the seller. So we'll see what happens. Yesterday was, it would it maybe that was my first like bad experience as far as that goes. But Brittany, what is your long-term plan?
Ooh, so get all these things up and going. Long term. I mean, I'm just always learning. I'm just always trying to learn new things and to incorporate what I learn into my business. And long term, I just want these to become successful. I want these businesses to become franchises. And I just want to just continue to help and continue to grow. And as far as long term, I mean, this is a long term game. I'm still going to be in it, so I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, well, I think that having three companies is already, a very, very successful, and as long as you can grow those companies, are you ever planning to start a fourth one, or is three and done?
I didn't even know I would have three, so there could be a fourth one that comes out of it because it's just like the flat fee agent that kind of came out of the North settlement. So you never know when some changes in the market are going to adjust things. And who knows, I've always been thinking about doing some empanadas. I was thinking about doing like a little empanada truck or something. So there may be something else in the future.
Yeah, you just got to hire employees to run everything.
But there are different things. I may get into something outside of real estate.
Right. Maybe go back to psychology one day. Britt, do you have any tips for new agents?
Come join my team and I'll help you. New agents, just find a mentor, find somebody that can help because it's a challenging and it's like, if I didn't have a mentor and it was a lot of learning and a lot of trial and error and a lot of money lost. So I would just highly recommend getting with a mentor to help guide you through this career.
A mentor and also a team. I think teams help a lot. And back to what you were saying, you have to experiment. You have to try everything. So my advice is your first year, try everything. EDDM, cold call, door knock, try everything your first year, and then and also get a mentor like you said.
Some people, it's natural. It's like cold calling. I know cold calling can be a lot of practice. It took me a lot of practice. Um, but some people are just a natural at it. If you're a natural at cold calling, it's great. It can be highly beneficial.
Find what you're good at and then keep doing that thing.
Mhm.
Brittney, where can people find you?
On social media, Brit.Lock, well, not Brit.Lock, but at Britlocke. You can find me there. You can find me at theflatfeeagent.com, at captainsavesahome.com, and my website, lockeandkeyrealty.com.
I'll put all your links below. Brittney, it was so great talking to you.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Have a good day. Take care.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.